Hi witches! Today we are looking at 6 planners, diaries, journals, almanacs for 2024. If you're not organised already, don't worry, there is still time to purchase one, and many of them are actually reduced because we have now moved into the new year. So I'm going to be showing you 6 planners or 6 books related to the year. So if you're interested to learn more, then stay tuned. Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Wren, I'm known as the Cemetery Witch, and today we are looking at 6 books to take us through 2024. I've got a mixture of diaries, date books, planners, almanacs, different types of almanac, and I'm going to go through them and explain how they're useful, what they contain and who they would be good for. 2 of them you might have already seen in the Witching Week, that is the Eccolo planner and the date book. I'm just going to go through those quickly because they fit well into the video, and just in case you are someone who doesn't watch the Witching Week but likes to watch the Witchcraft videos. So 2 of these books I'm well acquainted with, 2 that I usually use that I didn't have, that I've gone on and ordered because I've decided that no, I really do need them. And then I've got 2 books, one that I'm aware of, I've given as a gift before to someone, and the other one I've never looked at before. So I'm going to go through all 6 of those. So if you have seen the rundown on these 2 in the Witching Week, please just bear with me, and then we'll get on to the other 4 books. So the first one on the list is the Eccolo planner. I'd never heard of Eccolo before. I can't even remember where I got this from. I think it might have been TK Maxx. Anyway, my husband bought it for me, put it aside, wrapped it up for Yule. And I like basically a planner with a hard cover. This is a little bit smaller than the one I had last year, and I've added the plastic tabs from last year into this one. I find these to be really, really helpful. And because I usually get one with a spiral ring binder, it just clips in. So this isn't actually part of the Eccolo diary planner that you'll buy, but you can do things like that, you know, take bits out of your old planners, put them into the new planners. So this one has a year to view, a month to view and a week to view, and it's the month to view that I really, really like. And at the beginning, before you can see the month, it's got these monthly goals, monthly focus, monthly highlights, just a little place to put notes in, reminders and things like that, which is really, really helpful. And then it opens up and it's got some quite sort of decent sized spaces to add in all your information. And I really like a month to view because I like to be able to spread out my energy in terms of doing things. I've also not got a very good memory now. I used to be able to remember everything up here. I look back to when I could do that in my 20s and I just don't know how I did it. I remembered birthdays, I remembered events, I remembered things I needed to do, and not once did I ever miss anything, ever. And I just don't know how I did it. These days I need to be much more organised, and I need to write down, you know, those important things. So really, really helpful book. It's got all the regular calendar bits and bobs in it. It's got these lovely reinforced tabs. So I think there's as little plastic in Eccolo journals and diaries as is possible, but the tabs here are just reinforced with a little bit of plastic just so that it will last, because this has to last for a whole year. And it's got these lovely quotes throughout the chapters, and it also has them on the paper pages as well. So for example here, it's got "Nothing can dim the light which shines from within." And I know that might seem a bit cheesy, but I think it is nice to have like little inspirational quotes and reminders. I went onto the website. I've never heard of Eccolo before, and I think it's just me living in a cave, but there are so many things they offer. They offer so many different types of planners. They offer like memo pads, notebooks, journals, all sorts. So if journaling is your thing, you'd be able to find a really lovely journal over there. There is a huge choice over there. So yeah, I can't sing the praises of this one enough. It's also not too big. I wouldn't fit it in my handbag, but if I was going somewhere and I was needing to take this sort of stuff, then I'd probably take a bigger bag with me anyway. So it's perfect. It's the perfect size. And yeah, I do like the cover, not so fussed by the cover. Usually I would go in for, yeah, something natural, whether it would be birds or trees or something like that. I mean, this is still sort of on a theme, but I just like this. I thought it was kind of a bit retro, but I'm not as fussed about the cover. It's more what's inside and how I can organise myself with it. It does have these stickers, as I mentioned in the Witching Week, with these like little inspirational quotes and phrases. Not really my cup of tea, but I love that they've included them. I would not use a sticker that says kind heart. There's also fierce mind and brave spirit, and just not for me as an older person. Probably maybe younger people might like that. I'm probably going to just take those out and give them to one of my daughters. They would probably quite like to play with those. So yeah, absolutely lovely book by Eccolo, and I'll try to put all the links for all the books and planners and things. This one in particular, on the Eccolo website, I couldn't find this cover. I mean, it's probably on there. I wasn't on there long. I was on there about 5 minutes having a flick about. So I can pinpoint you to the Eccolo website, but I can't find this one in particular. I don't know if they make them on like a limited basis where they'll only do so many with each pattern. I don't know, but loads of different styles and patterns and covers on there. So really, really good. So the next book, you won't be surprised to hear if you've watched The Witching Week, is the Chelans Datebook, Witch's Datebook 2024. And again, like the Eccolo planner, this has got a year to date, it's got a month to date, to view, and a week to view. So for example, July, a week to view. So this is absolutely peppered with artwork, articles, images, recipes, information. Before you get into the actual journal, the actual date book, there are quite a few pages with different articles on. So like when the magic fails, healing your ancestral stories, choosing to repattern your energy, morning rituals for the busy witch, crystals for divine alignment, that kind of thing. It features people such as Mickey Mueller, James Canbos, Tess Whitehurst and Keldon. Sorry, nearly said Whitehouse. Tess Whitehurst and Keldon, to name but a few. There is just so much in this book. At a glance, you would think that there's not much in here, but when you actually start to look at it, you see that there is. So for each date, there is astrological information, there's moon phases throughout this, there's good days for harvesting and planting, because obviously some people like to do that to the moon. There's astrology, and there's also magical colour correspondences for each day. So for example, 27th of February, Tuesday is Scarlet. So really, really helpful if you want to use these magical correspondences. There's all the usual dates in there, so like Easter, Ash Wednesday, Valentine's Day, stuff like that. But then there's also things like Sun enters Taurus, or there might be little phrases like raccoons are all about resourcefulness, or the colour white clears away old energy to make way for the new. So a very, very helpful little book. It's got everything in there really that the Eccolo one has, but I have to say I prefer a harder cover. I don't know why. I'm the sort of person who would end up like buying both. These were gifts, so I didn't buy both this year, but I just prefer this one, and I guess it's just a little bit bigger than this one, so there's a little bit more room for organising. But if you want a smaller book, then this one is going to be the book for you. So very helpful, very inspiring, very in tune with what's going on, fantastic. So the next book is actually the Moonology Diary 2024. Now in the Witching Week, I said that I used this one and that I didn't have it this year, and I sat and I thought about it and I thought, you know, I really, really need to get it. So hence me ending up doing this video. I thought it would be really, really helpful. I've used this for the last sort of 4, maybe 5 years, somewhere around there. And it's by Yasmin Boland. She has also authored the Moonology Moon Oracle deck, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, and is an absolutely fantastic deck, which I find is really helpful to use alongside tarot. So this is a beautiful book, and there are gorgeous illustrations when you open it up, and this book has a year to view and then week to view. So not my favourite book in terms of planning, but I find that this is more of a companion to go with your planner. It's all about the moon, obviously, and anything related to that. At the beginning of this book, there is Welcome to 2024, how the moon can change your life, working with phases of the moon, the houses, what they mean, and Moonology, so things that are happening in 2024, Moonology for 2024. So absolutely brilliant. In terms of the diary itself, or the date book, whatever you'd like to call it, it has got quotes in, it has got helpful information, astrology, goals, other like little articles and bits and pieces related to the moon and moon phase magic and stuff like that. This is obviously really good for anyone who works with the moon and astrology. It would be a brilliant companion to either the Witch's Datebook or the Eccolo planner. There's no right or wrong really. You could stick this with anything. I'm sure even if you had another book that was quite moon heavy, there would still be special little bits that you would find in here. So I really love this one. And it's on a similar theme as well every year. You know that you're going to get certain things in this that you always get, but there's always something new as well. So really nice. Love this book. Next up is the Almanac by Llewellyn, and again this is another one that I use that I didn't have when I did the Witching Week, and I decided no, I really do need to get that. It's a seasonal guide to 2024. There's one each year, and there is a year to view. So the year ahead, the diary is there, and then it just goes into each month as a chapter. So January, then February, blah blah. So it's got all sorts in here. In the introduction, there is a bit of an introduction to years themselves. So there's a bit of information on the different types of year, or at least there's a list of the different types of years so that you can have a further look into that. So for example, the Islamic year, the Japanese year, the Chinese year, the Gregorian year, because obviously they all work a little bit different, the Coptic year, the Jewish year. And there are some notes on tide times and things like that, and the night sky. So each chapter has important dates, it has folklore, songs, spring and neap tides, it has stars, planets, meteors, it has all the seasonal information that you would expect, and there is a lot in this little book. There is a lot packed in. There are themes and crafts and remedies, all sorts. It's always really lovely each year. It's always interesting to see what there is going to be in it. And I guess it's best, this book, for anyone who wants to really align with the seasons, anyone who's a fan of the Wheel of the Year. And again, this is kind of it's a book that you would perhaps team up with your planner, because it's not a planner, it is an almanac. So it's got all sorts in here. It's got all sorts of charts and tables of helpful information that you might want to use in your witchcraft. Loads of lovely illustrations as well. Just an absolute treasure trove of information. So that's called the Almanac. So yeah, very popular. The next book I've got to show you, I've never mentioned before on here, I don't think. Might have mentioned it in the Witching Week, but I don't think so. It is a book that I have previously bought my husband, and it is the Night Sky Almanac. So this is by Storm Dunlop and Will Tyrion, and it's on a theme. It's made by the same company as the Almanac, and the Almanac I'm going to show you after this one. So this one is dedicated to the night sky, and in particular the night sky of 2024. It's got contents, it goes straight into the contents, and then it's got an introduction, and it's got information on meteor showers, some interesting objects, major events in 2024, the moon, map of the moon, the circumpolar constellations, the monthly maps, the world map, and then it goes into each month. So just flicking through this, there is a lot of information. Some of it is complex, but they have tried to put it into plain language. It's got the major events of 2024 in here, which might be helpful for some of you. It is absolutely fascinating. It's best for sky watchers, sky witches, sky lovers of any kind. For those who want to learn more, I think, and actually practically apply that. So it's got instructions in there, for example, of the sky, looking to the north, looking to the south. I think it's a really, really practical, helpful book. It's probably a book that's better for my husband and not me personally quite so much. Don't get me wrong, I love the night sky. I find it absolutely fascinating and did as a kid. When I was little, amongst other things, I wanted to be a spaceman, not a spacewoman or an astronaut, a spaceman, and I'm absolutely fascinated. But I would say that this is maybe a little bit technical for me. It would probably be fine if I sat down and gave it the time and the concentration that is needed, but my head is in too many other places, and there are things that just grab me just that little bit more. So for me, seasonal celebrations and stuff like that. Now, of course, it ties in with that, and this is a brilliant book to go alongside all the others that I've shown. You know, there's no right or wrong as to which almanacs you should and shouldn't buy, but this is probably, the Stargazing Companion is probably a better book for my husband, who can then point stuff out to me. So, but it's a beautiful book, and it does work in the same way as the other almanac. It's the same layout, the same sort of chapter pages. It's made by the same company. It is a beautiful book. I'm not being negative about this at all. It just probably isn't my go-to book. So the last book I have to show you is the Weather Almanac. So it's exactly the same as the Night Sky Almanac and the Almanac, by the same company. It's by Storm Dunlop, who co-authored this one. And obviously it's all about the weather. So there is an intro, and then it just goes straight into the different months. There's some additional info in here, and basically this book is all about the weather. So there are maximum and minimum temperatures for the weather extremes that we've had. There's a look at 2022's weather and what we can learn from that. There are twilight diagrams, there are moon phases, phonology, the Beaufort scale, lots of past weather events are mentioned in here, and even in the further reading there is like a list of sort of big famous storms to read up on. So if you're absolutely potty about the weather, then this is the almanac for you. It's best for weather nerds, and I would say maybe those sorts of people planning maybe trips, like, I don't know, maybe sailing, skiing, camping, I don't know. I mean, I think if you were doing those things, you'd probably have quite a good handle on the weather anyway. But if you are just sort of entering into adventuring, then maybe it would be helpful for you to read and learn about the weather and kind of keep an eye on what's happening as the year passes. So very, very interesting little book. I would say that I'm probably more interested in the weather than, or am I, than the night sky? I don't know. Since I've had a little flick through it, it is a beautiful book. I mean, there's lots of like passages and bits of writing and photos and images and all sorts of stuff. Again, it's probably not as helpful to me as some of the other books that I've showed, but if weather's your thing, you will absolutely love this one. So in conclusion then, really you are going to be teaming an almanac with a diary or a journal or a planner of some kind. My fave combination is probably going to be the almanac, because I'm all about the seasons and the seasonal changes. I know that with that you get the weather and you get the night sky, but if I had to pick just a small bundle to work from, it would probably be the almanac. It would probably be Moonology, you know, for sort of insight and personal development and stuff like that, and then it would just be my bog standard planner that I use to plan my life. So you might want to use all 6 of these, you know, depending on the sort of life you live and the things you're interested in. I guess I would pick these because I have my own magical correspondence tables. I don't really feel inclined to use the ones in the Witch's Datebook, but I think this would be great for a beginner, and I think this is a really beautiful book, the Witch's Datebook. It does keep you organised and inspired and keep you on that sort of like magical thread, but I think perhaps someone for me in my position where I've been doing this a long time, I just need a regular planner, and then I can add to that. I can add my magical bits and bobs in. I do like Moonology. I'm not massive on moon phase magic, as you know. For me, it is a type of sympathetic magic. I've explained that before, but there is the whole, what happens in the microcosm happens in the macrocosm, or vice versa. My brain's not working today. I'm having one of those days. But anyway, you know, what happens in the night sky? Does it affect us down here? I don't know. I would be inclined to think so. And so I really, really love this. I love learning about the moon. I do love reading about the moon phases and moon phase magic. I understand how it works. But I don't know, this is just a really nice sort of, it's a book that makes you self-reflect, and it's a book that makes you keep an eye out on what's happening in relation to the moon and, you know, the different sun signs and, you know, what's going on in the sky. So I really like that one as well. So they would be my 3 books. But again, you know, you might find this one really helpful teamed up with this one if you are a cosmic witch, if you want to call yourself that. So I will put links to all 6 books. Again, I might not be able to find my original Eccolo, but I will certainly link to that type of planner. I'll put links in the information section. Let me know, which planners, diaries, journals, almanacs do you use? Do you do journaling? Every time I try, I massively fail. I just can't seem to put aside the time each evening to sit down and write. Once we get to the end of the day, I'm absolutely exhausted, and I have certain things that I make sure that I, you know, really pay attention to, like, it sounds daft, but like brushing my teeth. That's the one thing that I stand for ages and just really concentrate on. So I feel that by the time I'm sort of like, because many people journal before they go to bed, I feel that by the time I've done all the bits I need to do, I also go to bed quite early as well. So yeah, journaling, it doesn't really work for me. I mean, I know it's great to journal on things and it does give you insights, but as an activity that I personally can keep up, just doesn't really work for me. It doesn't work for me, and I find that I kind of do a kind of journaling when I do the Witching Week. Sometimes I share my sort of thoughts and feelings with you on things that are quite personal. So yeah, but I know that many of you do. Let me know in the comments what you use to get you through the year. Maybe you don't use a planner at all. Maybe you do everything in your head, and if you do, I seriously applaud you, because I'm way beyond that now. So if you got this far, thank you so much for watching. If you did get this far and you're not subscribed, please consider it. It takes 2 seconds and it really helps the channel grow. It shows my page to other like-minded people, and you won't miss any videos. They'll, you know, if you subscribe to me, they're there where you need them. So take care, have a great week, and I'm wishing you a fantastic year as well.